Welcome to Inside Auto Podcast, where we feature everyone and anyone you'd want to talk to in and out of the automotive industry.
Ilana Shabtai here, host of Inside Auto Podcast, where we interview top dealers, GMs, marketers, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders in and out of the automotive industry. And before we introduce today's special guest, this episode is sponsored by AutoLeadStar.com. AutoLeadStar is automotive's first and leading customer data and experience platform. Top dealers invest in CDXPs to unify dealership data sources, automatically create one-to-one customized journeys, and execute omni-channel shopping experiences. Today, we're welcoming Josselyn Boudett to the show. Thanks so much for joining us.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
A world traveler. I appreciate you joining all the way from Singapore.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I'm here visiting our office. We have about 70 employees here.
That's incredible. And you have a few more offices, correct?
I do. Yeah, I have an office in Zurich, Switzerland, and in Tampa, and then I've got sort of clusters in Boston and LA.
That's awesome. I think it's great to be able to run successful global company, and we'll talk about that. But just to give you a proper intro here, Jocelyn is the CEO of STELLA Automotive AI. She's a serial entrepreneur with 25 years of experience in AI. Jocelyn has led and advised technology companies that help large enterprise companies deploy AI. She has worked in commercial real estate, FinTech, retail, and other verticals to help model, predict, and adapt to dynamic market events. So really an expert in artificial intelligence, which we love to talk about here at Inside Automotive. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation. So let's chat a bit. I know you've been in all different industries. How did you get into automotive specifically?
By an invitation, we had built some AI for some large OEMs in the heavy equipment space. And I have a long history in the manufacturing area. And I hired an employee that had worked at an auto software company. And when she joined and saw what we had built, she freaked out and said, "We have to go to auto." So really it was just a passionate employee. And then we made some phone calls and started showing our products. And we actually surveyed the auto market to find out what product was wanted and then brought that.
That's really interesting. And how long has it been that you've actually broken into automotive?
Well, we launched in soft launch in NADA 2022. We had a very good market response, and we hired our sales team in around August, and really got into market in the fall this year. And I think we've just entered a hypergrowth phase.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, as you know, AI is the center of every conversation right now in and out of automotive. Something that really consumes my entire LinkedIn feed is ChatGPT. And by the way, my TikTok and Reels, I mean, everything that I see is all about ChatGPT. What are your thoughts about that and predictions about the impact of ChatGPT and what Google came out with Bard? Like, where do you think that's going to go, and where do you think that's going to take us?
Well, I think we're very early, and I think it's incredibly exciting and sort of mind-blowing what can be done. And for me, it really elevated the understanding of AI and has catalyzed a strong demand for products like mine at STELLA Automotive. And so it's just been a good thing all the way around. I would say almost every investor in my company wanted to know what ChatGPT was. So it has also been in my inbox and a key narrative in the last few months. But overall, that's just an incredibly exciting product. And I think it's just the beginning of what can be done with AI.
Yeah. And do you think that, you mentioned this a little bit, but I think there was something very foreign about AI, even if a lot of the technologies that dealerships were adopting were using AI or were developed with AI, because there wasn't like a direct, consumer experience with it. But with ChatGPT, what I'm finding at least is it's breaking that barrier a bit, and people are just interacting with something that's incredibly powerful based on AI. I mean, of course, you have Siri and Alexa and other things, but there's something about being able to write an essay or write a blog post or write code right in front of your eyes that I think breaks that down a little bit and gives people an understanding of how powerful AI is. Do you think that like that psychologically changed, and that's kind of what made this become a catalyst for adoption for things like Stella? Or is it something else about, is it just because it's a key narrative that it's like a sexy thing that everyone wants to adopt? Like, what do you think it is?
Well, I think we could unpack it a little. I mean, the first thing I'll say is Stella itself is mind-blowing. So Stella answers a phone and talks on the telephone with consumers unsupervised as an AI, having full 15 back and forth, negotiating time, discussing opcodes, answering questions, transferring calls, taking voicemails, without any human intervention, completely automated AI. So if you just compare Stella to the market, I think what we delivered to auto crushes anything you've seen in airline, hospitality. $1 trillion industries don't have what we brought to auto. So I think we have had an experience of people going, whoa, this is completely different. I think the auto industry's been dabbling in chatbot technology, which really wasn't that impressive because it could only kind of start something but not finish it. It would start something and then quick as possible get it to a BDC, where Stella's the first product that actually replaces completely humans and completes the process. So we consider ourselves deep tech in the area of ChatGPT. ChatGPT, however, is a whole other level. What that is generative AI, which is it is learned from things that it knows and can repurpose information and create new content.
Right.
So that is in particularly mind-blowing. But just to compare, like for Stella, I mean, when was the last time Siri called you and had a long dialogue with you about a movie, right? So I'm like, yeah, I'm fully on board. ChatGPT is awesome, but for me, it put a punctuation point that there is real AI and the market is now, where I really think that the automotive industry has been, not seen it yet. And a lot of our, when we're out meeting dealers, this is the first time usually with Stella that they've seen AI.
Now, what's the response like when you say it replaces humans? I know that's something that dealers are often nervous about. On the one hand, they want the best technology and technology that works, and technology that will get them the most service customers in their doors. Meaning that's the end of the day their goal. So if Stella can so Stella or whatever other AI product can deliver, then that's what they're going to go with. But I still feel like there's a aversion to something that completely replaces humans. What's that experience been like?
Well, I would say, I think I was cautious with it early on, but, now that we have so many dealers and dealer groups on, I'm much more comfortable with it because two things. One, no one needs to lose their job. There are so many best practices to execute upon at a dealer that are truly missed. Is the first being most call centers are focused on inbound when they should be focused on outbound. So the first thing that'll happen is we remove a huge chunk of calls and free up the team to do other things. The other thing is the industry right now is missing about 30% of their phone calls. The average hold time is 5 minutes. People are hanging up. Service sucks. Scores are down. So I don't think there's any problem automating the area. And then there's always going to be, things that a computer can do well, which is repetitive processes. And then things that humans do better, which is complicated things. And so, the way we view that is Stella will do the best job on repetitive processes. And if anything gets complicated, it goes to the BDC. What that results in is about 40% of calls are handled by Stella today. And, we hope to lean in more on that. But, and then the flip side of it is dealers having a hard time hiring, and they're having to pay more. And the amount of time they spend training people, getting them onboarded, hired, there's high turnover. We had one group that had 20 job openings for the BDC, unfillable, right? And I'm like, well, Stella will apply for all 20. we could take a big chunk of your BDC and automate it. But I don't see it as threatening. I think most younger people don't like jobs that are repetitive and boring.
Yeah, sure.
And they don't mind getting rid of that kind of work.
Yeah. Do you see, just because you are the AI expert on today's show, do you see other areas, not connected to Stella necessarily, but other areas? I mean, of course you see other areas. What other areas do you see at the dealership that you really feel like in the next year or two, AI will just probably take over those monotonous, repetitive jobs at the dealership?
I think, one way to look at it, I think because we're answering the phone, we're talking about repetitive jobs. But I think the more important narrative around AI is its ability to be simultaneously aware. So what you have is with people, a person walks in, or they come in through a chat, or they come, into the BDC on a chat line, or they call, and you have a linear process of figuring out who this person is, what their history is, if they're a repeat customer, have they bought a car, what is going on with this person, where those are several steps to identify the person, go sit down at a computer, look it up while they wait, figure it all out, where an AI really does everything in one instant. So I think what's coming is just this complete knowledge up front of who you're talking to, their patterns with your company, or how valuable of a customer on there. How is it multifamily members? Is this a broker? Is it a commercial account? And what sort of, where are they located? What are their preferences? What are their normal behaviors and things that, and then what's going on with their connected car, and all of that simultaneously. You walk in and it's like, well, it's Jocelyn. I know what car she drives. I have a high probability, based on her mileage, that she's here for a 50,000 mile checkup. I mean, I almost know why somebody's there before they get there. And I think that's what's coming to the rooftop. I think that's what customers want. If you look in other markets where AI exists, that's where customers go, where it's a really, think of an airline that knows you versus an airline that just treats you like nobody. I mean, people want loyalty programs. They like being known and recognized. Well, AI is that on steroids.
Yeah, it's so interesting because it's like these little things too. I have a mileage, I'm a frequent flyer with all the airlines, but with American Airlines, when I call, it says, "Hello, Ilana, we've identified you by your phone number." I mean, I'm sure you're
yeah, you're like, yeah, they're gonna hook me up. They're gonna take care of
they don't. Nobody
you have a lifeline, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just like,
it just saves, honestly, it saves so much time. Now, United, I just started flying United, and with United specifically, they fly international Israel. So it's like I'm always on the phone with them whenever I'm traveling, and they don't do that. And I have to tell you, I'm not such a sucker for like, oh, let me chat instead of call. I'm very different in that sense with my generation. I do like calling. I think it's easier sometimes to just talk to someone on the phone. I'm not afraid of talking to people, but that extra step it really does add 5 minutes to the call, and it really like down to the core will bother me. Meaning I think, like exactly what you said, there is a way to identify the shopper and exactly what's happening, and probably be 95% accurate why they're even coming into the showroom. So I look forward to that.
AI can do it on 3 levels, but I would say you're statistically normal, because what happened after COVID was everybody doubled down on phones. You'd think, oh, the millennials are coming, they only text. I'll tell you what happened during COVID is phones doubled. Yeah. You know why? They don't want to drive in.
Right. And no one, and chatting, no one wants to wait. That's the thing.
And chatbots are all dumb. So everybody knows if you go to the chatbot, it's going to fail in about 1 minute, right?
Yeah, I mean, unless it's a
chatbot that's smart. Yeah. So we strangely, phones are getting slammed. We do have dealer groups that are, putting in these things that interrupt the phone call. I noticed that you've been holding. Can we move to chat? But I mean, if they wanted to chat, they would have chatted. They called you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think, you need to meet them where they are, and that the customers are on the phones.
Yeah. I think it's great that there's a really, really powerful solution for that. I think the dealerships in general need to be just adopting AI in every facet, real good, like real AI that can actually, you know, create customers for life by just making experiences that shoppers want today. So I appreciate that. And I think your expertise is making the product what it is. So I appreciate you sharing that with us today. Any last words before we sign off here?
Oh, well, I'm just thrilled to talk about AI. I would say there's a lot of confusion around what it is. And part of the reason why, just to have some compassion for our listeners, is the definition has really changed. Okay. And so like in 2000, what we said was AI, is now common, and you might not call it AI.
Right.
And I would say one thing that's just occurred is ChatGPT and products like Stella have thrown down the gauntlet and redefined it as, whoa, this isn't just, I'm in the Amazon cloud and I know how to share data. This is like, I can crunch information and be intelligent. And the level of intelligence, I think, is mind blowing. And I just say we're really excited about the narrative here in auto.
Yeah, I am too. We are too. Thank you so much for joining us today, all the way from Singapore. Again, I know you don't live there, but it's nice to
all the way from Israel, right back at you.
Yeah, right. It's super global. But thank you so much again, Jocelyn. We appreciate it. Inside Auto Podcast. And if you like this episode, please tune in insideautopodcast.com on all your favorite streaming channels. So thanks again.
Thanks for listening to Inside Auto Podcast. Check out our other episodes with top entrepreneurs and industry leaders.